Hi there, this is Alex coming to you from day 2 at reInvent 2022. Today's main event was the Adam Selipsky keynote, where he introduced over 10 new features or services to AWS. This evening I want to talk about just 3 of those, 3 of them which are closely aligned to my interests, which is in the world of data. The first of them is Open Search Serverless. The new feature that's come to Open Search is a serverless offering. So up until now, all of AWS's analytics services have been available with a serverless model, with the exception of OpenSearch. For those of you who don't know, OpenSearch is AWS's version of Elasticsearch. Today they announced that OpenSearch would be getting a serverless offering. This has been met with a little bit of criticism, I think it's fair to say, from the community, especially after people have been on a bit of a dive into what serverless actually means in this case. It's not true serverless in the case of things like Lambda functions where you can truly scale to 0. It does appear like there is around a $700 minimum fee you end up paying each month to keep your cluster alive, which isn't a small amount of money, and is something that people would absolutely need to consider if it's an option for them. One big theme throughout all of the keynote was this idea of removing ETL or zero ETL, as Adam Selipsky called it. And this next feature is something that's quite closely related to that. So AWS have introduced a zero ETL approach to get data from Aurora into Redshift. So the idea being that Aurora is a transactional database, an OLTP database, where you might store your sales, for example, order history, anything that's kind of transactional in nature, and isn't really designed for analytics workloads, whereas Redshift is a OLAP database designed for big analytics queries, building those big aggregates that Aurora isn't really built with that purpose in mind. Previously, people would have to build a custom pipeline to get their data out of Aurora and then to load it into a table in Redshift. AWS have now released an approach that allows you to do this without any custom code. This on surface seems to be pretty cool. I can see it being used in a lot of places, especially in places like retail, where the business intelligence opportunity you can get from running analytics queries over your transactional data is enormous. And the third new announcement that I want to talk about is a service called Datazone. And this is something that I'd never really thought about being part of AWS, but actually kind of makes sense for them to do. So there is already lots of data cataloging products on the market. One big player is Data Hub, which came from LinkedIn, I believe, originally. And it makes sense for AWS to have something where when you're building a data lake, perhaps with lake formation, or you're building a data warehouse, a Redshift, or whatever kind of hybrid of data model you need to do. Cataloging that data and making it available across your organization with the right metadata, with the right governance in place is a really challenging problem. And up until now, you've had to go to external tools or build something completely custom. But with Datazone, it looks like you can now do it with AWS natively. Really, really keen to try this one out and see how it can help our customers going forwards.